They also had John Morant and the Grizzlies facing the Suns. We'll pick things up game tied at 98 with 1:13 remaining. Morant driving, slings a perfect pass to Grayson Allen. In the corner, he drains the three. Beautiful. Look at this again. It's a nice move by Morant and dishing it to find Allen. Talk about finesse. We're hyped. The bench is hyped. Grizzlies take a 3-point lead. Next, Suns possession under a minute remaining. Devin Booker misses the layup, but DeAndre Ayton cleaning that up with a putback dunk. Ayton puts up 18 and 16 rebounds. Suns trim the lead to 1, and then 35 seconds left. Grizzlies take it back. Morant with the drive finishes to put the team up by 3, but keep your eye on him because he gets back on defense. Chris Paul now pushes the ball up the floor, and Morant draws the charge. Clutch plays from Morant down the stretch. He goes for 17. Grizzlies hang on to defeat the Suns.
Those two look good together, don't they, Tony?
They do.
Net gains. James Harden has been in Brooklyn for 2 games. His impact already being felt, certainly with Kevin Durant. According to Elias, Harden and KD are the first teammates ever to each score 30-plus points in each of their first 2 games together with a franchise. They've also increased the team's overall offensive efficiency and have scored or assisted on 84% of the Nets' points in the 2 games. All right, let's bring in Tim Legler to talk about this. Legs, Brooklyn 2-0 with Harden in the lineup. Defensively, not getting a lot of stops, but on the other end, I mean, they're virtually unstoppable. What have you seen from Harden so far?
Well, look, this guy's ability to just occupy so many defenders is going to make the game so easy for his teammates. He's just a guy that passively can attack at any point and win his matchup. So when he beats his matchup and he draws multiple defenders to him, he simplifies the game for other people. I'll show you some great examples of this in the game last night. An opportunity here to switch. If you're defensively, you have 2 guards involved in a pick and roll, just switch that. But because it's James Harden, you get 2 defenders to linger near half court, and now Harris just runs to the open spot. It's an easy pass and catch and knocks down a 3-point shot. Here's another example. Transition, comes up the floor. Look at the way 4 players overload to his side of the court, and all eyes are on him, and that's going to lead to a Kevin Durant running free and get the easiest bucket he'll get all season. And then finally, I talked about him winning his individual matchup, and this is against Jrue Holiday. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and Harden just puts him in his rearview mirror, gets downhill, draws the backline defender, and makes the game easy for DeAndre Jordan. I think in this situation, when you have this kind of firepower paired up together, somebody has to take the role of lead facilitator. It's going to be James Harden. Kevin Durant isn't worried about his flow being interrupted because he's just too talented and it comes too easy for him as a scorer. But James Harden is the guy that's going to have to set the table for people. And in the first 2 games, it's exactly what he's done. He knows he'll get his points and he'll get his buckets, but he has to make sure that those other role players get their opportunities, and that's what James Harden has done through 2 games. And at times, like you said, David, this offense is unguardable when you have 2 of the best offensive players who have ever played in this league out there at the same time. Man, good luck defensively trying to come up with a game plan to slow it down.
Okay, all good for the first 2 with Harden and Durant, but now you insert Kyrie into the lineup. He's expected to be back for tomorrow night's game against the Cavs. Legs, you know the histories, you know the skill sets of these guys. How do you think it's going to work with 3 alpha scorers on the floor at the same time?
Well, I was watching the game last night, and I just kept trying to imagine Kyrie out there, and it was almost unimaginable to me when you have another guy added to the mix that is that dribble dominant. And now I think the flow does start to get affected. Because, look, when you take the ball that percentage of the time out of the hands of a James Harden or Kevin Durant, it's going to be much more difficult, I think, for that team to operate with enough ball movement and inclusion of your role players to have a real feel to your offense. And that's the problem. Kyrie's creating a little bit of a problem for himself now because you've seen a team in 2 games look unguardable on one end of the floor. You add Kyrie to the mix, it's going to become a little bit more muddled. He's obviously a great talent, but that's not what this is about. It's about pieces fitting, and it's about the role players understanding that they're going to get opportunities as well to take pressure off of these guys. So it remains to be seen. He's talented enough. You can't say it can't work, but at the same time, it's hard to imagine, based on what I've seen from the first 2 games, adding a 3rd ball handler to that mix.
The anticipation's building, the curiosity's building. Again, Kyrie is expected to make his return tomorrow in his old stomping grounds of Cleveland. Legs giving us his thoughts on the team that's the talk of the NBA right now, the Brooklyn Nets.
Gee, 11? It's like that
Yeah,
at 11?
you know, and I was going to video it a little bit, but I'll do it next time. But she had the whole kitchen smelling like she was on Rachel Ray or something. And so, you know, I'm like, what you doing? She got the spinach going because she's making spinach pasta. She got a pasta making machine for Christmas.
Nice.
A real one, the kind you crank out the whole deal.
So you got the fryer, she got the pasta.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, pasta didn't come out as smooth as you would like it first time around for her. I figured by the third time, she going to get it just right. And it was good. I mean, it was fine. I swallowed, I didn't chew. So it was, you know.
Right down the hatch.
Yeah, it was, you know, had a little pasta going. The thing that, the one thing I didn't like is the sauce. You know, I didn't tell her, though. And she could tell I didn't, because she kept saying, you don't like it, huh?
What kind of sauce?
Yeah. She made a vegan, because they're vegan. So the sauce was more of a garlic kind of cheesy sauce, but not real cheese. It was like some oat milk and some other stuff. So, but it was good. It was good enough for me to eat. You
know your key is kid when you're 11 years old and you're taking command of the kitchen at 11 years old.
Yeah, she did. It was cute, man. It was good. You guys you'll experience that, Jay, and love it. I'm telling you. And I got a chance to watch Equalizer last night a little bit too.
That's old school Denzel, though.
Denzel.
Years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty.
I saw that in the theater back in the days.
That's why I named my dog Denzel Washington, Zubin. There you go.
Though. No, he was pretty badass, though. I never watched it. That was the first time I saw it. You know, I saw Denzel, so I stopped. And because it was Dr. Martin Luther King Day, they were running, like, I think they were just running a bunch of black actors and actresses on TBS and TNT. They were just running them for a while yesterday. And so I stumbled into it. It was pretty cool, though. It was good. And then I watched some basketball.
And we'll get into both of those games, including what happened with the Lakers and the Warriors in just a little bit.
Yeah, we're all right. Don't worry about us.
You have a 19-point lead. It's all good.
Tired, man. You get tired sometime of winning, and it gets boring. That's all.
I'll tell you what, it's not going to be boring for Nets fans, Jay. I mean, you have to kind of, I say this, you know, in a flippant manner, but you kind of have to go back to the Brooklyn Dodgers to remember a team that brought Brooklyn a championship. They moved to Los Angeles and became Key's Los Angeles Dodgers in 1957. But look, nearly a half century later, the borough is excited again. Great win last night for the Nets over the Bucks, in which James Harden had 34, 6 and a dozen. Kevin Durant had 30.
Go, man, go.
Oh, Middleton had a chance to win it at the end. It was a thrilling game. And I got to say, Jay, my biggest takeaway, all the headlines are on Harden, but don't sleep on the fact that in the 2 games James Harden has been on this team, Kevin Durant has scored 42 and 30 points.
Jay, let me ask you this, though, before you go, and I was going to say this and then Zubin. How do you do that, though? How do you just plug him in and he goes for 30-plus 2 nights in a row? I don't understand. Is it that they're running the same sets that he's used to that they may have done together at OKC? Like, how does that happen?
Key, James Harden averaged 10 assists a game. I mean, assist-wise, he's always been in the upper echelon of the NBA. And that's one of the first things we talked about, just because we saw him play a style in which he had to do everything every single night, which Mike D'Antoni asked. Now, all of a sudden, you're asking him to come and play with one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen, who's a 7-footer. And the game is so easy whenever they're involved in pick and rolls. Like, that's why I said before, I think it's going to equate into a championship translate, but on paper, this is the most gifted trio the NBA has ever seen. Kyrie's a wizard with the basketball when he comes back. James Harden has won an MVP, multiple scoring champ, scoring champ outright in 2018, and Kevin Durant, 2 times Finals MVP and MVP himself. Like, the collection of talent is ridiculous. But last night, going to the game real quick, Zubin, I don't really care about what the Bucks do in the regular season anymore. I'm going to be frank with you. Like, the last 2 seasons, they've had the best record in the NBA for regular season. What I wanted to watch last night was matchups. I wanted to see Giannis guard Kevin Durant. I didn't see Giannis guard Kevin Durant down the stretch. You know who I saw Giannis guard? Jeff Green down the stretch. And these are the little things that you start paying attention to about getting to the next level, Key. The final possession of a game, Keyshawn.
Yes.
If you were the star player for
I'm getting the ball. It don't matter.
You get
and we ain't
you
even,
wrote a
don't
book
even,
about it.
I don't even need you to finish that. I'm getting the damn ball. I don't care if I had 27 catches on the year like Zubin said or not. Y'all giving me the damn ball. There is no other option. And if I'm playing basketball, and I know Jay Will is coming up the court, I'm checking him, I'm meeting him half court, period.
It's exactly my point. So you go down to the last shot of the game. The play was designed for Chris Middleton. The ball goes in and out. And then Coach Bud says, hey, that was a good shot. It was a good shot. It's understandable, right? But the guy that is making $45 million a year, the highest paid player in North American team sports, like, I want him to have the skill set to make those type of shots. And I know other players need to make shots. I know people say, well, Steve Kerr made big shots for Michael Jordan and John Paxson and all these guys. But I think that those are the little things you're looking forward to see in order for the Bucks to take that next step. Because at the end of the day, they're going to have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, something that you haven't seen them do yet.
And I think you're not questioning Steve Kerr or Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or LeBron James in those instances, in those situations, because visually you've seen them do it before. You've never seen Giannis to a degree in that type of situation, whether it was the playoffs last year when this came up or whether it's last night when it came up. All of a sudden he defers as basically to somebody else instead of saying, timeout, we're drawing this up for me. It's going to fall on my shoulders. So I clearly understand where you're going with it, because when you get into the playoffs and he needs to do that, basically, if you ain't practiced that during the regular season, how am I going to expect for you coming to postseason to take advantage of the situation and even know how to do that?
Exactly, Keith. The same way we just talked about Patrick Mahomes. When you saw him fall and go through that concussion, he ran out. You're like, Keith didn't even think twice. He going to play on Sunday.
Oh,
right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I don't want to think twice about the games going down the stretch, whether Giannis is going to demand from Coach Bud that he wants the ball or not.
And
I have to think twice about that,
The
Keith.
interesting thing about the game last night that I took away from it is the fact that that was a much bigger team than Brooklyn in terms of their size, and Brooklyn handled their business, because I think that was a question on when you get a size matchup, who would the advantage go to when the Nets face a team that got a couple bigs clogging up the middle.
And Zubin, real quick, he is the two-time reigning MVP, back-to-back MVP, and last year was the Defensive Player of the Year. Do you know how many people talked trash to Giannis this summer about he didn't really guard nobody? He never guards the primary scorer on the other team. I don't know how you don't hear that, and how down the stretch, this is the time to go get Kevin Durant and guard it. Kevin Durant pushed him to the ground, Keith. Pushed him to the ground a couple of times throughout the course of the game.
How much does he outweigh Kevin Durant by? At least 45 million?
Maybe 20, 25 pounds, maybe.
Yeah, that's enough. Kevin Durant ain't pushing me to no ground, man. I'll break Kevin Durant's wrist. It's
going to be something we're going to talk about the whole year, about that next step for Giannis mentally.
As cold as Kevin Durant is, and long as I love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's like my favorite player outside of LeBron in the NBA. I'm getting on him, though. He ain't going nowhere. I'm all up on him. I'm up on him, Jay. I'm right here. You ain't moving. Soon as you go, I'm going. Soon as you go, I'm going.
Look at that defensive stance, baby. Look at it.
You know?
Yeah, keep those hands active.
Come on, man. I can move left and right. I might be a little older, but you gonna work.
Last thing I would say, it could